Thinking back over all of the English roses we've grown, I realized there's been a great disparity between how they grow. That has certainly been true, especially since we moved to a much cooler climate with colder winters. So, what I'd like to do is share with you the top 5 performers we've had of English roses here in our cooler climate. I'll start with number 5 and work up to number 1. But first, a few honorable mentions. These survived a couple of winters. Young Lucidus, if you happen to tend towards mauve or purple roses, this one survived several winters and at least managed some bloom to appreciate. The Generous Gardener did okay. It fared several winters and it did manage to regularly bloom. It was a smaller shrub because it died back to the ground each winter, but it did manage to survive several winters and continue to bloom for us. Unfortunately, I don't have any pictures here of Spirit of Freedom, but it managed to survive winters in spite of being grafted, which I did bury it deep and protect it a lot, but it did well for us. Princess Alexandra of Kent managed several winters, and it was still growing when we moved. It had died back and lost a little bit of vigor over those several years, but it was still blooming well, and I did in fact use it for breeding as well. Now let's get on to the top 5 performers, beginning with number 5, a Shropshire Lad. This one wasn't as cane-hardy as I expected. It died to the ground each year, but it managed to grow back in spite of being a young shrub, which most young shrubs died. It managed to grow back each year and continue to bloom after several winters of growing it there. Number 4, Claire Austin. This one died to the ground each winter, but it did not lose a lot of its vigor. Each of several years it filled out as a shrub fairly well, and it kept blooming. I kept it down at number 4 mainly because towards the end it looked like it was beginning to fade. Gertrude Jekyll. This one is on the list because it's highly recommended by other gardeners. I've had it for 2 winters here in this garden with snow protection. It has been cane hardy. I'm looking forward to a month from now when the snow melts to see if this harder winter did a number on the canes. Number 2, Mary Rose, a classic shrub in the garden. This one died down, but every year it came back as a good mid-sized shrub filled with bloom, and it was just steady and reliable. The number 1 place goes without doubt to Lady of Shalat. One winter, it actually had maintained some green cane in the snow. The rest it died to the ground. But it retained its vigor and grew back to a 4-foot-tall shrub, completely loaded with bloom every season in spite of the hard winters. It was blooming from mid-June all the way through September. It was never without bloom. And to see it retain this vigor after such a winter that died down most of the way was incredible and was certainly heads and shoulders above all of the other garden English roses that we had in our cold garden. So for cooler climates, I definitely recommend it. Hopefully this helps you as you're looking ahead to buying your next rose. If you live in a cooler climate, certainly give it some consideration. There's others as well that we haven't grown here yet, so check their website.